Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. Today I'd like to show you how I made this card. I'm going to change my colour scheme and I'll start off by telling you the card pieces that you're going to need. The card base is in soft suede and that measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4 inches, scored and folded at 4 1/8. That's 21 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres, scored at 10.5 centimetres. Then you need two pieces of very vanilla, and they measure 4 inches by 5 5/8 inches, which is 10.25 by 14.25 centimetres. And then you need a layer of DSP, and I'm using this mint macaroon design, which is from By the Shore. And this measures 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is 10 by 14 centimetres. And then you will need a piece of soft suede for the window, which should be approximately 3 inches by 4 inches, which is 7.6 centimetres by 10.25 centimetres. And then you'll need a piece of Sahara sand for behind the window, and that should measure about the same. You can go a bit smaller than that. I've done 3 inches by 4 inches, which is 7.6 centimetres by 10.25 centimetres. And then you'll need some designer series paper for the lady there and also for the inside. And that needs, both pieces should measure about 2 1/2 inches by 2 inches, which is 6.3 by 5.1 centimetres. And then you'll need two pieces of scrap for the flower. The Sahara sand should be approximately 2 1/2 inches by 2 1/2 inches, which is 6.3 by 6.3 centimetres. And the mint macaroon should be approximately 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 inches, which is 3.8 by 3.8 centimetres. And a piece of Sahara sand for the sentiment, and that measures 3/4 of an inch by 3 inches, which is approximately 1.9 centimetres by 7.6 centimetres. So to start off with, I'm going to do the die cutting first. So I need those two for the flower, and I need that piece for the window. The flower is from Botanical Builder framelits, and I'm using the large one that's going on the Sahara sand, and the smaller one is going on the mint macaroon. And then the window is from the Hearth and Home's framelits, and there's just two pieces in this set. It's the window and the windowsill. I'm not using the windowsill for this one, just this. So I'll get the die cutting done first, and then I'll move on to stamping. I'll bring up my Big Shot, put that where you can see it, and I'm going to use some wax paper. I like to use wax paper on this particular one because the petal is cut in the centres, and I just like to make sure that I can get it out without pulling any of the bits off. I have done that in the past, and this one, because it's got lots of I suppose stamen in there, it just comes off a lot easier if it's got the wax paper there. But the window is fine, that doesn't need anything. Okay, so that's all on my magnetic platform. I don't know really why this is making so much noise. Right, just have a look to make sure it has cut okay. Yes, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And that won't be any problem. So So I've put the big shot back, we don't need that now. So let's just use my paper piercer to push the pieces out. The window comes out quite easily. Just pop that over there. And this one, I like to do a little bit on all of the petals. When I broke the petal previously, I was able to adhere it back again because of the particular design I was using it for, but I'm not sure I'd be able to do that on this one, so I really am being careful with it. So there's that can go back, and then this one you just need to be careful with because there's so many bits on it. There we go. The wax paper is still in there, but I'll get that out later. Okay, and before I forget, I'm just going to curl my flower ready, and I just use a pencil for this. There we go, and then just push that up. I think this is a lovely design, this flower. There we go. And then I will also do this one, just a little bit, because then what I'll do is I'll use the end of my paper piercer and just give it a little bit of a push, and then that comes up really quite nicely. So that's ready, and that's ready. Now I'm going to do the stamping for the window, the stamping for the sentiment, and the stamping for the lady. For the lady, I hope I haven't been too tight with myself with the paper here. I'm going to fussy cut the outfit out on this one, and I'm using this side because what I did on this one, I thought that the white was too stark against everything else, so I coloured over it with watercolour pencils without actually using a blender pen, or without actually using the water aqua painter. So the lady first. Oh, and the lady is from the Beautiful You set, which is a 2-pack set, which I think is going to be one of the all-time favourites. It really does seem to have caught everybody's imagination. The ideas that people are coming up with are just absolutely phenomenal. Now what I'm going to do is, yes, I need it all, don't I? I need the head. That's because I want to cut the hat out as well. So the ink that I'm using is our basic black archival ink. And that's 1. And that's 2. Oh, I forgot to show you what the second one's for, isn't it? It's because I'm going to do a lady for the inside like that. So she needs a dress as well. Which means for the inside one here, I need to stamp her down here. And I'm going to do her so she's coming off the bottom. There we go, that's fine. And I also need one for here, don't I? Behind the window. Now what I want to do is make sure that I get this sort of the right position. So I want her head to come up to about here, which to me that must be just over an inch down. But equally I'm going to move it over to the left hand side somewhat, because I want her to be able to see most of her. I don't want this bar going right down the centre. So let's do her again. So that's left hand side and down about an inch. Hopefully that's about it. Let's just check with the window. Yes, that's good. Got some furry bits on here, hairy bits. Let's just get those off. Right, get those out of the way. Now, I need to cut the window, so, or at least behind the window, so that it's going to adhere onto this piece at the back, but without any of the edging showing. So I've forgotten to bring myself a pencil. I think I can see one over there. No, I can't. So, because it's all going to be cut off, I'm going to use a pen. I have my a lot of my things all packed up because I'm going to be doing a class tomorrow, and it's not a class at home, which is what most of my parties normally are, my classes normally are. Right, so that's got to be shorter than these lines, which is why it doesn't matter that I'm using a biro. There we go. So I'm just going to cut in about 1/8 of an inch. I'm just going straight up. About 1/8 of an inch here as well. And from the bottom, make sure I haven't gone too far. Nope, that's still fine. And I'll just do a little bit at the top as well. There we go. Right, now to put this on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue actually on the window. So, Tombow. Now I'm going to try and put some glue on the crossbars as well. If it comes out too quickly, I've got a piece of paper underneath that I can blot it on. It looks as if it's behaving at the moment. Well, there we go, brilliant. So I'll lay that down and I'll pop this on top so that I can make sure that it's not allowing any of the... Oh, I've forgotten to stamp it, haven't I? What I meant to do now is to do some wallpaper at the back there. So what I've got is I stamped on a piece of post-it note and then I cut it out so that I could pop that on there. And then for my wallpaper, what I'm using, because this one I felt that I aimed at making it look like wallpaper, but I felt that this finished up looking more like railings, so it looks like she's outside rather than inside. So I've chosen a different stamp this time, and what I'm using is one from Timeless Textures. This stamp set, I'm going to use this one here. I'm doing it tone on tone, which will be Sahara sand. And I'm going to try it on my scrap paper first, just to see how dark it's going to come up. Right, I think I'm going to do that, not first. I think I'll do first and second really quickly, and then I'll do that one, because I want it a bit darker than that, but not quite as dark as that. So let's see how we go. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's better. That's 1, 2, 3. There we go. If we take that off, yes, that's much, much better. It looks more like indoors, doesn't it? So I'll close the ink up, and I will try doing this one again. It's not two-way glue, is it, this one? So I should still be able to pop that on top. Let's find out. Oh, I'm still doing it wrong, aren't I? I need this one on there first. Right, let's cut this one out. I have done a video showing how to cut this out to the best, because there are bits that you come to and you think, shall I cut that off or shall I leave it on? A lot of it is just a question of opinion, really, what you feel. And I think because it's, I'm not sure how you describe this kind of drawing, sketchy I suppose, because it's got lots of lines on it, so there really isn't a right and wrong way. I'll show you as I come down to the skirt bit down there, show you what I mean. Now here on the skirt you can see it's got some lines on the outside here. Now you can either go on that inside line or you could come around this one. I'm going to go on the inside line. Right, so cut that bit off. I also need her hat. Now again, with her hat, there's no definition between the inside of her hat and her face, so it's a bit difficult to decide exactly where you're going to do your cutting. Personally, what I like to do is on here, I like to cut round the top line here, because all of this bit down here is going to show through where it's been stamped here. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. If I cut that all the way round, it's a little bit more fiddly. Cutting out the dress is fine. There we go. So if I put the hat on first. You see, I've missed out everything from under here. Now, I'm not going to do any colouring green there to get into the hat. I'm just going to leave that as it is. I'm going to pop the dress on now. And I'll show you the black lines, what's happened with that. Right, so you still get the black lines by the side of the dress there. I think it just makes her look quite a bit slimmer. Alright, now before I glue this, can you believe it, I did it that early? I want to colour these stripes in, and with the watercolour pencils I'm going to use the Early Espresso. This is quite a dark colour, but I'm only going to colour over very slightly, just to give this a little bit of colour. You may not actually be able to see it from where you are, but I'll bring it up to show you once it's done. It just helps to soften the colour a bit. If you like, you could actually colour this before you cut it out. There we go. Now I'm not going over this, as I say, I'm not going over it with blender pens or aqua pens or anything, just leaving it as it is. You see, I think that's quietened the colour down very slightly. I prefer it like that. If you're not bothered about it, then obviously you don't have to worry about it. Now I wonder if this, I think it will still stick. Certainly still feels very tacky. Right, I'm going to pop this in place. Make sure that none of the underneath layer is showing. And making sure that I haven't got this piece here going down the centre of the lady. Okay, so there we go, that's that. So what do I need to do now? If I put these three together, I can put this on, and the other stamping I need to do is for the sentiment, isn't it? So what did I do with my other piece of cardstock? Looks like that's gone walkabouts. How frustrating is that? I wonder if it's up under here. Nope. Right, okay. Let's put the card together first. I might have to go and get another piece of paper. I'm just using Tombow on here. You could use Fast Fuse or tear and tape. There we go, that's that. we go. Still need to cut that one out as well. So I'm going to put my window on. I didn't use, no, so I didn't use dimensionals for that. Again, I'm using Tombow here. If you want dimensionals, of course you could. I'm just positioning this so that it looks as if I've got the same amount of gap all the way around here. Trying to get it centred, sort of. Just lift it up, make sure it's kind of straight. There we go. I much rather that wallpaper there than what I had before. Now, come on, what did I do with this? I really don't know how these things can just go walkabouts. I really don't. At least I know that I'm not the only one this happens to. Right, let me just get myself another piece. Let's just hope I've got a piece that's already done, right size. This is the advantage of keeping all the scraps. Right, I said 3/4 of an inch, didn't I? That's a little bit short, but I think that'll be okay. That'll be too big. Right, where's my thank you? And the thank you is from Rose Garden. That's this one here. These are quite a lot smaller than what they are in real life. These are only 60% of the size because there's so many stamps in this set. To get all the pictures on there, they've had to shrink it down. That's the actual size. Okay. Right, so I'm only going to eyeball this. Because it's photopolymer, I should be able to get it straight, methinks. And also I'm going to leave a little bit of room so that I can fishtail the end, but allowing for the fact it's going to disappear under the flower here. So, I'll try not to get my head over. There we go, that's good. So I'm going to be very brave this time to fishtail by cutting in the centre, halfway, or at least up as far as I want it to go. But just make sure you're halfway between that. And once you've done your straight line, you go from this corner up to the end of your cut, and then this corner to the end of your cut, and it should look equal, which isn't bad at all for me. So my flower, I'm going to just put some Tombow to adhere this one inside, because that was a bit generous, wasn't it? And where's my scrap of paper? Just make sure that gets adhered down in the centre. And I can bring all these up again. Got a little bit of hairy bit there. Now, this one, I think what I did was, I think I put this one down first. Let me just cut a piece off the end here. If I pop that there, in fact, I think what I did, yes I did, I tapered this. It wasn't quite as long as that. What did I say, about 3 inches was it? Yes, that's more like it. So I'm just tapering this so that it doesn't get seen through the flower. Like that. So when it goes under, that's it. What I didn't want it to do was I didn't want it to be seen down through here or through there, which it looks as if I've managed to avoid. So let's do this bit. Right, that's going in the centre towards the edge. Lift it up to make sure it's straight. I think so. And then put some glue on the bottom. And how far round did I have that? I should have paid attention to which way I had my flower. There we go, I think that's okay. Just use this to make sure it goes down nice and firmly. In fact, I think what I might do is put a pearl in the centre of these. What I'll do is I'll do that before before I photograph it to put it on the blog. And now let me just quickly cut this one out, and then I can put it onto there. Let me show you what it's like if you colour this first, which is what I said was one of your options. See, it's much, much easier to do. On her arm, and I'll also do on her hat. And I don't mind about coming down onto her face because that's going to be, I'll cut that piece out again. Okay, so just cut this out. And if you're a beginner with this fussy cutting, you'll probably find it easier if you move your scissors rather than your paper when you're cutting. I'm not sure why that's the case, but it certainly seems to work. Right, just bring this down round her arm. And then I'm going on the inside again like I did on the outside of the card. There we go. There's going to be some left over anyway because I stamped her off the page. Right, so let's just do her hat. Oops. And then cut cutting on the inside there. There we go. Let's get rid of those. You could use snail for this bit. I didn't know, but I found out the other day that snail wasn't designed to put cardstock to cardstock. It was actually designed to adhere paper. There we go. There's that one. Now her dress. And I think that's coming out a bit quickly. So I'm going to pop that onto my scrap paper. That's what I do if I get too much glue on my cardstock or anything. Just blot it off. Looks like I cut more of her sleeve off on this one. Mind you, it could be a bracelet on her arm, couldn't it, that one? Like so many things in card making, it's a matter of choice. Just turn it over, cut the rest of her skirt off, and there we have it. So let's pop that on the inside. And then that's today's project. Don't stick it upside down. There we go. Beautiful. This really is one of my absolute favourite stamp sets. There we go. I hope you like this, and I hope you give it a try. It's just a little bit different. I know that the paper piecing is very popular with this particular stamp set, but Through the Window is a little bit different. Many thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions or you have any comments you'd like to make, please leave them in the box below, or you can email me at janb@janbcards.com. If you'd like to purchase any of the products that I featured here today, if you click on Show More below, that'll open up the box and I'll put the link in there. If you've enjoyed my video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button. And I will also be putting all the measurements and the products that I've used on the screen. If you can't see them on the screen because of the device that you're watching the video on, again, if you click on Show More below the video, that'll open up the box and I'll make sure I put all the details on down there for you, so it's all nice and convenient, all in one place. There we go. Many thanks for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting. Cheerio.